field. Heading for third is Cameron.
Exceptional
and he'll
base
get
running.
there.
That's great base running by Cameron. He picked that ball up off the bat. He knew the center fielder wasn't going to catch it. He made a great turn at second base, and he forced the action right there. That was exceptional base running.
Yeah, his instincts stand
Look at
out.
him right here, Jim. Just watch. A peek by the center fielder. He knew immediately.
And Pache's got a plus arm. I mean, Pache can throw too, so if you hesitate, you might be out of third. But, you know, it's interesting, Dan, because you see these guys who grow up around the game.
They have a better awareness.
And it seems like a cliche, but you see it time and time again.
Well, you know, I say it, you know, because obviously I have boys that played too.
Pavin Smith up the middle. That'll drive home Cameron, and it's a run for the East Division, their first since the first inning, and they cut into the deficit. It's 3-2.
The conversations you're having at the dinner table is always about the game of baseball. Every time you're watching a game, it's, you know, you're talking about the intricacies of the game of baseball, and they just develop more of a sixth sense to how to play the game.
You see it time. I mean, we talk about how advanced Vlad is. Kevin Biggio at Notre Dame. I think the thing that stood out the most about him was his approach. Bo Bichette was going to be in the fall league, another Blue Jay. He looks super advanced. And I got to tell a quick dad's Cameron story, because I was talking to him earlier in the fall. I was asking him, you know, did your dad ever play in the fall league? Mike, you know, who had a long career, all-star Gold Glover, and his dad was ticketed for the fall league, and he lost his spot to Michael Jordan. When the White Sox decided they were sending Michael Jordan here, Mike Cameron didn't get to come.
That's a good story. Now he can tell the rest of his life, though. He got bumped by Michael Jordan.
and he still came back from it to play in the big leagues, I think, what, 18 years? He hit 4 home runs in a game. Pretty good career for Mike Cameron.
Yeah, it all worked out. Jahmai Jones taking a strike, a ball and a strike to him with 2 runners on.
We've seen a lot of quality at bats this inning, Scotty. Guys not trying to do too much, just taking what pitcher's giving them.
Now, you're right. I mean, Cameron didn't chase. Pavin Smith just, you know, he has that kind of line drive swing. He just went up the middle with it. Nice pick.
Really, really, really nice play there.
I know you're impressed with Ruiz, Dan. He's just 20 years old.
I am impressed by this.
And you look at the Dodgers organization right now, Yasmani Grandal could be a free agent if he doesn't accept the qualifying offer. So there's a chance for him to be in the big leagues quite soon.
Quite soon. I'd say we're pushing a little bit in 2019.
Yeah, and then, you know, they have a first-round pick, Will Smith, who was at AA with him for most of the year and moved up to AAA. I think it's 2020 on Ruiz, which would still put him in the big leagues when he's 21 years old.
And will Smith be in front of him because he's 24 years old?
Yeah, a little bit further along in his understanding of how to play the game at that particular position. You know, it's the one position you can't hide at all at the big league level, because you're involved in every single play from a defensive standpoint.
Ruiz is a better hitter, though. And I think part of the reason they separated them, too, and Smith struggled with the bats on AAA, is in the minor leagues, you're not going to crush a guy by having him catch 110 games, but they still want, you know, they had him in AA together, but you want to have it to the point where, you know, it'll be interesting, because they're both probably going to be in AAA next year. You know, maybe Ruiz plays the first month in AA because he's so young, but they're going to run into that situation again.
A 2-2 to Jahmai Jones, a breaking pitch, and he sends it to center. Pache has it, and the runners will hold. That's the second out here in the top of the 5th. 1 run on the board here for the East Division. An RBI base hit for Pavin Smith makes it 3-2. And next up is Dalton Varsho.
That young man glides in center field out there, Jim.
He's the best. I think he's the best defensive outfielder in the minors.
And you see him get behind that ball. Fundamentally, he did everything perfect on that play.
He's so good, and you know, there's a lot of good center fielders. Most of them can't throw. Well, he can throw too.
Well, that and it, you know, the physicality of him, the way he moves, and that's a really big young man.
He, you know, like I said in the open last year, everybody was talking about Ronald Acuna, and rightfully so. You know, Braves 5-tool outfielder. You know, he's still learning offensively. He hasn't translated the speed into steals. He hasn't hit for a lot of power yet. But I was talking to an American League assistant GM this week. You know, and everybody loves his defense and the speed and athleticism. He said, I think he's going to be a 20-plus home run guy once he matures at the plate. I mean, he's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a baby yet. They just need to take their time with him, and they have because of the depth of the talent in their system, they don't have to rush any of their young players.
No, definitely. You know, Vlad Guerrero Jr., youngest player in the fall league. Christian Pache is the second youngest player in the fall league.
Varsho lays off the pitch. It's 1-2, and Pache also has someone to look up to in the Braves major league team in center field, and that's Ender Inciarte, who plays the position very well.
I'll go out on a limb here. Ender is very, very good. I think Pache is will be a better center fielder, and I think he's going to definitely be a better hitter. Not that there's anything wrong with Ender, but I think when Pache is ready, he's going to take that job.
He's going to be a better hitter, or you think he's going to have more power? I might argue a little bit on the pure hit ability there.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll have a total offensive package.
Okay,
I'll take
sure.
You're fine. You're keeping me honest. That's fair.
We're negotiating.
That's why I love working with Dan on this and the draft. No, because you say something, Dan will challenge you or get you to clarify a little bit. That was a good one there.
Varsho caught looking by Muller. He does give up the 1 run to make this a 1-run contest here at the Fall Stars game. Tight game between the East and the West as we are halfway through. Coverage of the 2018 Fall Stars game is presented by Bowman Baseball Cards, the first place to find the game's future stars. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at bat number 3 is on its way, and this is the scouting report, and he is the #1 overall prospect in the majors according to MLBpipeline.com, a list that Jim Callis is a part of putting together, and the reasons are easy.
Yeah, and he, like I said, and I'll ask Dan. I mean, Dan's been around the game for a long time. I guess I'm calling us both old. He's the best hitting prospect I can remember.
Jim, it's really phenomenal. I just can't get over how easy he does everything. And I use the Manny Ramirez only because that's my reference points based on my experience. He has that same relaxed, confident approach in the box, like he really understands what he's trying to do on every pitch. I mean, look at that.
Scorches it to left field. It's off the wall, off the base of the wall, and Guerrero is going to stand up at second base with a leadoff double.
Okay, Scott.
And now he's moving to third, and he's going to get there. Look at the base running awareness by the 19-year-old, and a little emphasis when he gets there.
Okay, now did you hear the sound off of his bat? There are certain guys that you'll hear in your career that the ball simply sounds different coming off his bat. Hear that sound? That's the sound of an impact, middle of the lineup, future MVP type candidate. That's that sound.
And I like a guy that celebrates a triple because he probably doesn't have too many in his career.
And again, when I talked about baseball awareness when I did the makeup grade, that's baseball awareness and instincts right there, being able to take the extra base.
It would be easy in an all-star game like this. I mean, you're not playing for, to win a game necessarily that means something. That's a routine double to kind of jog into second and take it easy, and he didn't.
Actually, he broke really well around the bag at first base, too, anticipating that it was a double. He hit it so hard, I think he wasn't sure at first.
Yeah.
And that will be scored a double and an error. The second charged against the East Division.
He's a fun, you know, guys, for me, this has been a joy. It's the first time I've actually had a chance to see him play live. And, you know, you listen to a lot of the hype, and usually doesn't meet your expectation. Tonight, it's real around this young man.
When you hear the Miguel Cabrera comparisons, Miggy many times looks like he's having a blast on the field because he's so good and the game comes naturally to him. I see a lot of that, Dan.
Well, Scotty, when you've got the ability to swing the bat that way, you have a chance to be a little bit more relaxed than most players.
His teammate Kevin Biggio,
Nice
fair ball
play.
down the line, a great diving stop by Peter Alonso at first.
Phenomenal play.
And Guerrero has to stay at third. Alonso lost his cap.
You know, you can tell Peter's put a lot of work in over there from his days at the University of Florida, Jim. He's improved defensively a lot. You can tell he's really worked.
He has. It's interesting because you talk to scouts, and that's still a topic of discussion out here. I think there's still work to be done, but he has improved. I saw a day out here where he made a couple not nice plays. It's still work in progress, but you know, the thing that's nice about it, look, we all know the power is going to carry him. That's going to be the tool. And it would be, you know, there's some guys who kind of blow off defense a little bit, and he is not.
Well, you can't blow it off anymore. In the age of analytics and the way defense now measures to win games, you know, it's just you simply have to be a complete player anymore to be able to play this game at the highest level.
And the nice thing about that play, Brody Van Wagenen in the house tonight to watch that. So he's seen Peter Alonso, probably his first baseman at some point next year. Probably should be opening day. Hit a home run with 110-mile-an-hour exit velocity apparently, and make a nice play at first base.
See another young man in Thornton, Jim, with a well above average fastball, very, very quick arm.
He's interesting. There's some deception in that delivery.
There
I think,
is
because
some
it's
funkiness.
quick.
Little Brock type action for me out there. Brad Brock.
And he'll have like he's got a pretty good curveball and slider, and he can mix in a changeup, and he throws a lot of strikes. It's going to be. I think he'll be in Houston at some point next year. He was in AAA this year, had a pretty solid year. I think we'll see him in Houston next year once he throws strikes a little bit more consistently. I'll be curious to see what role he might be. That valuable multi-inning reliever. Nice pitch.
Yeah, he rings up Ryan McKenna, who just entered the game as a pinch hitter.
And he's all over 96 too, and he really does have some deception. See how he hides the ball behind his delivery?
Yeah, guys just don't pick it up.
And now Thornton will face Buddy Reed, who just entered the game. Thornton, 25 years old, and you mentioned, Jim, he had a better AAA season this year, posting an ERA in the mid-fours compared to the previous season. So it took him a couple seasons to get settled at the highest level of the minor leagues. And he fools Reed on the first pitch.
Yeah, we were talking about Buddy before the game, Dan and I were. I mean, he's got some of the best tools in this game. He can play center field. He's got I keep saying center fielders can't throw, but Buddy Reed can throw. He's got raw power. He's got well above average speed. And we're seeing what we talked about before the game with him. It's going to come down to be able to hit the breaking ball.
You know, and again, for me, when you look at the length of his arm, guys with longer arms have a little bit longer swing path to be more consistent from a contact standpoint. That's something he really, really has to learn. See, he committed there early. And he's got, you know, the package to play is exceptional, but he's going to have to learn to make more consistent contact to be a regular at the big league level.
Yeah, he'll definitely play in the big leagues with his tools.
No,
how long he plays there and what kind of role he has is going to depend on the bat. I mean, he's unbelievable athlete. We had him on our MLB Pipeline podcast toward the end of the season. He played 8 different sports in high school. 8.
How does that happen?
You know, he's got this infectious personality, too. You know, you can tell he loves the game. He loves being around his teammates. He brings energy just in his presence, which is exceptionally valuable when you're putting together a club. But whether he's an everyday player for that club or an extra outfielder, really is all going to come down to his ability to make more adjustments with his swing to be able to make more consistent contact.
Anybody who watched the Futures game saw how much he loves to play the game.
He does.
He had a blast.
23 years old, the 13th ranked prospect in the Padres system. A flare to left, but it's foul.
Really choking up on the bat, too.
Is that only with 2 strikes there?
I wasn't paying close enough attention. I think so.
I can tell you he's wringing his hands out right now. That one hurt. That one got very, very deep in on his hands. See him shaking it out right now?
Yeah, and he talks here about, you look at the scouting report about the adjustments he made to try to be shorter to the ball and get more extension. And he made, pitch recognition seemed like it was better in high class A, that he made some strides. And he went to double A and he struggled again with the bat. I think it's going to be a little bit longer development process for him. 96 in, pretty tough there.
Yeah, it's above his hands too, really. That's just a very tough pitch to hit.
Good heat from Trent Thornton keeps the West Division off the board. Pete Alonso leads up in the top of the 6th inning here from Surprise, Arizona. And the 2018 Fall Stars game continues.
Antes que yo te formase.
I think there's 6 position player subs, and I think they're all in the game. So I think we are getting Peter Alonso, and Daz Cameron, and Pavey Smith for the duration of this one. Also helps when the other first baseman's DH.
That's right. 3-2. And that is a free pass for Alonso to start off the 6th. His team trailing by a run. Here's David McKay. Luis Barrera up next as he enters the game out of the A's system. And Jim, I looked at your scouting report for him on MLBpipeline.com. I see toolsy.
No, he's interesting. He was not a guy I was really that familiar with before I came down here, and he is tools. He's got plus speed. He's got a solid to plus arm. More of kind of a line drive on base approach at the plate over the power. Had a nice year in Double-A, high in Double-A.
Right there.
And a nice swing to right center field. Alonso's going to go first to third, and he's trying for second. And the throw is there with plenty of time to nail Barrera for the first out here in the 6th. Too aggressive there, Dan?
Yeah, no, not in this game. You know, he read it right off the bat. I'd rather have a player, I'd rather tone somebody down than turn somebody up. I thought that was a really aggressive move to make. Like how short his swing is to the ball, Jim.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing there, though, like pointing to the dugout and kind of slowing down, then deciding that was a double, because I didn't think it was a double off the... If that's a double off the bat, then you got to be busting a little quicker. Then. But yeah, that was a nice swing.
You got Mr. Biggio. Scotty now moved over to first base. He's starting to show some position versatility. I want to mention that because that's becoming such a crucial part of today's game. Finding a roster that has a ton of players that have built-in versatility, specifically ones that have offensive impact capability too.
And the infield playing in against Austin Listy. His first trip to the plate.
Power, Jim.
He does. He's an interesting guy. You know, he holds the single season and career home run records at Dallas Baptist. Hit 24 as a senior before they made him a 17th round pick. He took a year off in college and entered the Navy SEAL program.
I know. How about that?
Fascinating
to be
story.
a Navy SEAL.
And then, you know, it wasn't that he watched out, but he had a wife, and I don't know if he had a daughter at the time, and decided that was not necessarily the best career for a family guy. Came back to Dallas Baptist and hit 18 home runs this year, hit 312. A little bit older because of that year off and being a senior sign, but kind of an interesting guy.
Well, you know, this type of draft for me really shows how important scouts are to our game.
Listy to short. The only play for Cole Tucker is to first, so it scores Peter Alonso, and the East Division has evened up the game at 3.
To find that kind of kid in that part of the round just gets down guys to really good area scout.
No, it is. It is. I mean, you're getting a guy in the 17th rounder who's got a chance to be in the big leagues. You're doing fine work there.
Alonso comes in.
Tie ball game. It's amazing, Scotty, when we have contact.
Austin Listy, and that's going to do it for David McKay. New pitcher coming up. We'll fill you in when we come back from Surprise. We are tied at 3.
Yeah, 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 boom. Quédate callado que no te sale porque de llegarte tengo todas las posibilidades. Tú sabes por qué no lo haces conmigo, porque si lo haces, tu falacia yo puedo acabarte. No te confundas que yo
Hey, the Red Sox are World Series champs. Celebrate with official caps, t-shirts, hoodies, jerseys, jackets, and more. Find all the gear you need at MLBshop.com. Play Ball is MLB's initiative to inspire all forms of baseball and softball participation, making play opportunities available and fun for everyone. To learn more, go to playball.org. San Diego chicken causing all kinds of problems today, Jim.
Well, he almost ran over Dalton Varsho, so he deserves to be pelted with water balloons. I think that's Mike Hazen throwing those water balloons.
That's his punishment. And then he lost it all.
That's a bad look.
That is. Back to Surprise, Arizona. It's 3-3 as the East Division just tied up the game. An Austin Listy ground ball with the infield in, but they did not have a play home. It scored Peter Alonso, and it knocked the pitcher out of the game. Now Matt Crook in there, the 6'4", 225-pounder. One of 4 players acquired by the Rays from the Giants in that Evan Longoria blockbuster deal back in December of 2017.
Yeah, and it looked like coming out of high school he was going to be a Marlin. He was a supplemental first-round pick, agreed to a deal, all set to go, and he failed the physical. Wound up having Tommy John surgery at Oregon. Came back, went in the 4th round. He's just been inconsistent health-wise and command-wise. When he's on, he can show you an unbelievable curveball. Like I've heard people put a 7 on the curveball times. He could be 92, 96. I think he's a long-term reliever, needs to throw strikes.
And he's facing Andres Jimenez, just 20 years old. He's actually the Mets' top-rated prospect, number 55 overall, according to MLBpipeline.com.
Real feel to hit. He, is a plus base runner, base stealer, good defender, and again, he is 20 years old.
And he's down on strikes, so Matt Crook enters the game, faces one batter in Jimenez, retires him via K, and we head to the bottom of the 6th inning, all tied up here at Surprise, Arizona.
Es fanática de lo sensual. Ella tiene una foto mía. Lately I feel so alone. Don't even know why I have a phone. Nobody hits me up and I'm stuck. Never had someone that I could call my own. It's lonely walking down this road. Fake friends that I didn't have to know. The same ones that fuck me over, and whenever I need them and I turn around, they just turn ghosts. I feel I'm at an all-time low. I am depressed and it hurts me to know my ex is happy and I can't seem to cope. She's ignoring every text message I wrote. My anxiety's high, my medication's low. I am so stressed and I hate being home. I sit and overthink everything alone. I wish I had somebody to hold. Damn. I'm sick and tired of putting up a front like I'm happy, but really I am in a slump. I try to stay strong, screaming I don't give a fuck, but if anybody will give it, then I'm the one. I wanna put down my walls and open up. I hide behind this rapper I've become. Addicted to being accepted like a drug. No one's here, I feel like I'm ready to plunge. I remember you said my music was whack. Teachers persuaded me to try to give up my act. They said the image and the drive is what I lack. Made me think maybe I could never be a part of rap. Well, I ignored that. I said fucking and snap. Over 20 million plays, where are my haters at? I didn't need a label to give me a chance. Today I sell out an arena, I feel like I'm the man. Wasn't hard, but to find nothing. Never found someone who really loves me. I'm coming around now cause I'm getting money. A few plays later, now they all see something. The same guy that is from the start. The same guy my ex left with a broken.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. 3 per side from Surprise, Arizona, and when I say a perfect night, a perfect day, weather-wise, it has been spectacular so far this weekend here in Arizona. That's what you expect here in November for some Arizona Fall League baseball, the Fall Stars game. Mabrice Valoria checking in at catcher and getting his first at-bat of the day against the new pitcher, the left-hander Devin Smeltzer, now in the Twins organization. He was part of that Brian Dozier trade this past season.
Yeah, he's kind of an uncomfortable look for a lefty because he has that crossfire delivery. He doesn't throw her hard. It's more 88-90, but he was really good control of his curveball. That's his money pitch. I think we're looking, probably left situational lefties, his long-term role. 5th-round pick out of junior college, struck out 20 in his final junior college start of the Junior College World Series before signing with the Dodgers.
It really is a very inspirational story, too. He's diagnosed with bladder and prostate cancer before his 10th birthday. So this young man has had to fight through an awful lot to get to the position he's in right now.
And it was a nice story that we saw. I think it was on MLB Network even, that when he was young, he interacted with Chase Utley, was like on the Phillies, one of his favorite players. And this year in spring training, Dave Roberts brought him over and introduced him to the clubhouse. And I don't think Utley had any idea that this was happening, and informed Chase Utley that this was a kid he'd kind of given some inspiration and hope to. Just a really heartwarming story.
And
look at that uncomfortable look.
92 upstairs. Yeah, that is an uncomfortable swing from Valoria.
Yeah, that looked like self-defense, like he thought the ball was going to hit him in the head. I mean, it comes out from way behind him, and it's...
Yeah, it was such a crossfire, too. He's throwing so far across his body. It's a really uncomfortable at-bat for a left-handed hitter.
And now he faces Luis Robert.
What do you got here, Jim?
Well, it's hard to say what you have on Robert because he's been hurt so much. He had some minor injuries in his pro debut. I mean, this guy signed for $26 million. And matching penalty tax, so $52 million to sign him. I see some similarities to Yoan Moncada when they signed him. Moncada's the only guy who got more money. He's electric, but he's kind of raw, unrefined, kind of like a young stallion as a prospect. I mean, he can really run. He's got electric bat speed. Hasn't translated to a lot of power yet, but he hurt his thumb diving for a ball in spring training and then re-aggravated, so he really didn't play a lot this year. So after 1.5 years, 1.5 professional seasons, he's barely played. And even down here, he hurt a hamstring. So I have not even seen a lot of him down here. So my impression is still kind of a work in progress.
And Devin Smeltzer also makes quick work of Robert. We'll say this. Danny should be buying many dinners for everyone out here in the Arizona Fall League. He is the richest player in this league. That $26 million to come out of Cuba back in May of 2017. He's the number 44 overall prospect, according to MLB Pipeline.
Well, Jim said it so well, Scotty. You can't develop players if they can't stay on the field. One of the talents, we talk about 5-tool players. One of the tools we don't talk about enough is a 6th one, and that's durability. Is that to play the game and play it well, you have to have a lot of reps. To do that, you have to be able to get on the field on a consistent basis. Second most money given to a player, a prospect, to Yoan Moncada, and rules have actually since changed, so you're not able to give that much cash to an amateur player coming internationally anymore. I would think he's probably a big part of the White Sox rebuild for him to hit on a consistent basis. Does he profile more, Jim, in center or in right field? And these are some of the contracts that we've seen from Cuban baseball players coming to the major leagues or the minor leagues, including 6 years, $68 million for Jose Abreu, who's also in the White Sox. And there's a lot of hit or misses on that board right now. It's kind of 50-50, so to speak, and guys that have impacted their major league clubs and guys that really haven't done much of anything. Yeah, Rusney Castillo in the minor leagues still for the Boston Red Sox, signed for $72 million. It's a big cut and a miss from Khalil Lee in a full count. Yeah, you were asking it with Robert. I mean, again, I think we need to see more of him to know exactly where Robert's going to fit. I like Luis Alexander Basabe. He's also out here, was in the Futures game, not in the game tonight, more of a center fielder. I think he has a chance to play center. He could wind up in right field, again, because I like Basabe. But, at least if you're looking for a silver lining, or at least something not to be as worried about, they've all been different. It's not been a chronic thing, like he's got a chronic knee injury. But still, you invest that kind of money, you'd really like to see him play. Quality at bat by Lee right there against, that's left on left. And again, we talked about how uncomfortable and at bat it is. And he's a very interesting kid. To me, his batting practice today somewhat surprised me. He backspinned the ball all over the ballpark exceptionally well. He's got more power than you might think if you just saw him. And he has a chance to be pretty good. I think he gets a chance to stay in center. We saw his arm tonight. It's a really good arm. He threw out Barrera at second. And Dan, going back to high school,
There were some teams on him as a pitcher. He was a low 90s lefty with a good slider too. Very athletic.
Khalil Lee with a base on balls, and that is it for Devin Smeltzer. So 3-3 in the 6th. We'll be right back.
The same guy who turned music into his.
Porque
Be all-star selections, 95 Silver Sluggers, 83 Gold Gloves, 29 Rookies of the Year, 17 MVPs, 12 batting champs, and 6 Cy Young winners. Jim Callis, you've seen many of these players.
I have, and I think we may need to update that list pretty soon. Torres, the last 2 MVPs out here, add to the Rookie of the Year total.
We'll have some updating to do, and those awards will be presented on MLB Network coming up this month. Melvin Adon, 6'3", 235 pounds. He's 24 years old in the San Francisco Giants system, and he delivers a strike to Cole Tucker. It's his first at-bat of the day.
First pitch 99. I think we're seeing a trend in baseball. We saw it all through the year at the big league level. There's just a lot of power arms in our game right now.
Tucker gets a hold of one, and he spits it to right field. It's a base hit, and flying from first to third is Khalil Lee, and he'll get there. Moving up to second on the throw is Tucker, and 2 in scoring position for the West here in the 6th.
Great base running on Tucker. He read the guy in front of him completely, read that it wasn't going to be cut. And, you know, the beauty of that, guys, is it takes the defense out of throwing one pitch and getting a double play. That's very good baseball awareness and instincts.
Yeah, I really like Khalil Lee. He can help you in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, he's a really interesting player. So is this young man, Jim.
Tucker or Adon?
No. Look at the trail run right here that I was mentioning. See, watch Tucker and his read now. He read that exceptionally well.
And it was nice. He never stopped running.
No.
Like, he wasn't necessarily committing to going, but he was ready to go if he got the opportunity, which he did.
And Tucker can run, and he can run with smarts. He led the Eastern League in stolen bases this season, 35 of them. A potential future shortstop for the Pittsburgh Pirates, although he has some competition in former first-round pick Kevin Newman, who saw a bit of the big leagues this year, Jim.
Yeah, I like Tucker a little bit more long-term than Newman. I think he's a better shortstop. Probably similar runners. I think Tucker has a chance to have more pop with the bat. So I think I like him. I'll tell you another shortstop to watch in the organization. He might be the tallest shortstop in big league history if he stays there. Is O'Neal Cruz, who we'll probably see in the fall league next year. Could see him in the futures game next year. O'Neal Cruz is, I think, 6'6", 6'7", and moves pretty well at shortstop.
We're one pitch away here from Vlad coming up with the bases loaded, guys.
Have to pitch to him.
This young man, too, he had a good year for the Tribe, ended up getting all the way to AAA. He's got some home runs, plays the middle of the diamond.
6th best prospect and he was signed out of Taiwan in June of 2013, number 6 in the Cleveland Indians organization. Hard contact, and it's over the head of Daz Cameron. It'll bring home 2 runs, and here goes Chang for third. And he's going to get there safely. A 2 RBI triple for Yu Chang. Let her rip. 5-3 West Division.
Jimmy, that was a 3-1 fastball that he jumped all over, up in the zone. He laid a head on it. Beautiful swing, stayed within himself, used the entire field. Look how this ball just took off.
Yeah, I mean, Daz Cameron has good instincts, too. I was surprised to see that go over his head, because the way he was going after it, I thought he looked like he had tracked it, and I think it just took off on him.
Tucker never hesitated at second base, so his read was phenomenal. That ball was going over his head.
Now runner at third and 2 down for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who actually did the same celebration when he reached third base earlier in the game. Back in the bottom of the 5th. Also a walk for Guerrero, gets a piece of that one. It's a ball and a strike. This is the celebration I'm talking about. This must be a team thing. That's shooting the arrow up in the air twice. What is that?
That launch angle looks like Peter Alonso's home run from the Futures game. That was pretty high. You know, on that, getting back to Guerrero, that double last at bat, the exit velocity was 117 miles an hour. And just to put that in perspective, in the StatCast era, which I think goes back to 2015, you throw out Aaron Judge and you throw out Giancarlo Stanton, only 13 players have hit a ball 100 or had a hit on the ball 117 miles an hour or greater.
This is a power game now, and we're seeing that in this Fall Stars game. Guerrero Jr. stays alive again. Dan, he's got what his dad had in the ability to make contact with baseballs that are not necessarily in the strike zone, yet he can also work walks, which his father did not do very frequently.
Scotty, you just don't see this kind of bat come along. We could call a lot of games out here over a lot of years, and this is special. Just the ability to foul that pitch off.
He does take the 1-2.
Good pitch.
That's a big strikeout from Melvin Don to prevent any further damage. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. goes down, and Blue Jays fans might see him very soon. Yu Chang could be in the Indians' big league squad very soon. He drives in 2. The West Division grabs the lead, 5-3, 2 times. That's right. 7th year of service. You like how I did that math
I
already
got
for
you.
you? And he's playing in this game. First pitch swinging. And that is in foul ground, and Daz Cameron will make that. Khalil Lee has it in right field. Nice play by Lee, and he retires Cameron for the first out.
Christian Pache recognizes good outfield defense there and applauds. Dan, I don't think there's any way he's on their opening day roster. They're not projected to contend next year. You can't. I mean, it stinks. I thought he should have been up on merit this September.
You notice I didn't answer that question from Scott. I just went into the action on the field.
Oh well, Dan, I was going to keep asking.
Yeah. You have to wait and see how things plays out in the spring training.
First pitch swinging up the middle. Bobby Dahlbeck will make that Nico Horner with the base hit.
That's a good swing.
He's the only position player from this year's draft in the fall league. Takes 98 right back up the middle against Jordan Sheffield, first-round pick out of Stanford. Interesting guy. I heard an Ian Kinsler comp on him. I think he may wind up at second base.
Good call.
Kind of like that comp a little bit.
Good call.
It's his first at bat here tonight, and he was a Final Two vote candidate, voted on by the fans to make it into this game, and that's Jordan Sheffield on the mound, 23 years old. A top 30 prospect in the Dodgers organization, number 26.
He's a Vandy kid, still trying to figure out, for me, some of his secondary pitches. Even in college, I projected him more as a bullpen guy than a starter. I thought his motor ran better, out of the bullpen than it did as a starter. His feel, his understanding, his ability to make adjustments.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, he can show you 3+ pitches at times, but he has
inconsistency.
He's very inconsistent with them. He's had injury issues. Small sample size, but he's pitched very well in 5 or 6 innings down here. I think the relief role just makes things simpler and more comfortable for him, and it's probably easier to keep him healthier. Now his brother is going to be a starter. Justice Sheffield with the Yankees, probably in their rotation at some point next year, and perhaps on opening day because he's already been up.
And Justice Sheffield was the starter in the Fall Stars game last season.
Jim, let me ask you about Mr. Smith here. Another guy where it's more hit ability over power for a position. That kind of profiles, for power.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the Diamondbacks put a 5 on it when they took him 7th overall, but it's, he didn't have a great year this year in the Cal League, did not drive the ball very much. He's, hit over power and kind of an average defender. I mean, it's a little bit of an unusual profile for a guy who goes in the top 10 to be a first base only guy.
Power can come a little later, though.
It can.
The hit ability is good, and he starts to learn how to angle balls a little bit better at the plate and sit on pitches and counts in certain situations.
I mean, he is a good hitter, but a 4 hitter's not going to play. 4 power's not going to play at first base, and even 5, you might want a little bit more than that. So I'll be curious to see what happens with him next year.
Well, if 5 power is going to play at that position anymore in the game, it's going to come because he's got a 7 or 8 power.
Right.
He's down on strikes, and there'll be a new pitcher. So with 2 outs here in the 7th, there's Pavin Smith going down, and Paul Goldschmidt, pretty good looking first baseman, is up there for that.
He's pretty good.
Although he is a free agent after next season, just 1 more year under control. We can get into it when we come back, as Blake Wyman is about to enter the game here in Surprise.
To you, for real.
now shed long for his first plate appearance this evening. Here at the top of the 7th, 2 outs, and a runner moving for second. The throw in time. Mabrys Valoria gunning down Nico Horner at second.
He'd run off the field as soon as he made that throw, Scotty.
He knew he had him. Blake Wyman doesn't have to do much on the mound. Maybe we'll see him in the next frame. Top of the 7th comes to a close, and there's that gun. Accurate, and a nice tag put on by Colton.
And
It's really not okay. It's really not okay. Oh, you're supposed to care.
Biggio at second base.
Wow. Hey, you know, Lourdes Gurriel, who was in my lineup, he's a son of a guy, too. He was a son of a Cuban legend. Lourdes Gurriel was a great hitter on those Cuban teams back when I covered Team USA, and they used amateurs, I guess amateurs in quotes, for the Cuban national team in the Olympics. So he's a son of as well.
First pitch is a strike to Biggio from Adon, who's back for another inning. Melvin Adon, 24 years old in the Giants system.
It's a small sample size, but he's looked a little bit more mature on the mound down here. He's a guy who can run it up to 102. Look, it's good timing there. He makes it, he tells the truth there. Shows how knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, he's a guy who's always thrown hard, but he signed late. He was 21 years old when he signed out of the Dominican, which is really an advanced age to sign out of the Dominican. And he's never thrown a lot of strikes or had a lot of success. He's going to be a reliever long term. But down here, he's been, outside of throwing 102 there, focusing more on the two-seamer. And he's really tightened up the slider and had more consistency with it, and really, looked more like the two-pitch reliever he's probably going to be in the long term.
That was a great at bat there too by Biggio. I mean, he has a 102 fastball running away from the barrel of his bat, and he absolutely smoked a bullet right at the shortstop. He's been impressive tonight. He's had a couple really quality at-bats. His approach has been very good.
Like you mentioned, Dan, he's going from left field to first base in this game. And he's played a lot of second base as well. That's a valuable asset to the Blue Jays organization.
You know, Mr. McKenna's got a wonderful opportunity with the transition the Orioles are about to go through. Any young player that blossoms within that organization is going to get an opportunity to play at the big league level.
No, you're definitely right. You know, he's having a good fall league. Had a tremendous year in the Carolina League, High Class A, and then struggled in Double A, but he's gotten back on track here, driven the ball with more consistency than he'd shown during the minor league season.
He's down on a comebacker. But
there's some athleticism in that body, too. Some explosiveness.
And you're right, this past week, 4 for 6, a double and a home run to solidify that final spot for the West Division. Here's the delivery of the Don.
I mean, he made a nice play. I really wish he stepped and throw the ball to first base.
He's long. Another big boy coming to the hill. It's 6'2", 245-pound Darwinzon Hernandez. We'll introduce the new pitcher in a moment. More talent coming soon for the World Series champs. This is Darwinzon Hernandez, 21 years old, and the 7th-ranked organizational prospect. Signed out of Venezuela for $7,500 in August of 2013. This has been a steal for the Red Sox, Dan.
You know, and just speaking of the Red Sox, too, you know, watching batting practice, I saw 2 Red Sox scouts in the stands. So they just win a World Series. They just had their parade, and yet the game of baseball does not stop. You know, they're out watching prospects again. They're out here evaluating where this guy is and how far he's away to be able to help their big league club. It's the cycle of the game just simply doesn't stop.
Buddy Reed fouls that one off. It's 0-2.
Well, I remember in 2015 when the Royals won, just about everybody's favorite Royals front office guys, Art Stewart, who's in his mid-80s.
He's out here.
Art was out here, I think, it might have been 2 days after the World Series ended because he felt like he was behind. He wanted to see everybody. It was awesome.
Buddy Reed swings through. That's impressive work from Hernandez.
Devastating slider.
Red Sox fans get excited.
They should.
They're celebrating now, and they might be celebrating again sometime soon. Hernandez, nastiness, gets Reed, and we are through 7. Top of the order for the East Division. Welcome back to Surprise, Arizona, the spring training home of the Rangers and the Royals, and the AFL home to the Surprise Seguros. It's the Arizona Fall League 13th Fall Stars game. Scott Braun, Jim Callis, Dan O'Dowd, and that is ball one to Shed Long from Blake Wyman. And Dan, I was hoping Wyman would get another inning because he came on for what, a couple pitches? One pitch.
Yeah.
And then caught stealing was Nico Horner.
You know, watching this young man take BP today, Jim, he's got really good hands to hit and surprising power.
Yeah, he's definitely an offensive second baseman. Another example, good scouting, 12th round pick out of Malibu.
We're seeing that a lot. And again, these area scouts are just such a vital part of an organization's success.
And Dan, you know what I start doing? Looking at who the upcoming free agents are for the Cincinnati Reds. At second base, Scooter Gennett has 1 year left under contract with the team.
But you need to find a place where Nick Senzel can play.
That's a good point. He's the top prospect in the Cincinnati Reds organization.
He played some outfield this fall in instructional league.
They've got a lot of outfielders, though, too. So position player-wise, it has not been the issue with the Reds. They do a good job of drafting and develop position players.
No, you're right. And I think we'll see Senzel in the big leagues next year. I just would not want to have to bet on which position he'll do.
And that's a strikeout for Wyman. One away here in the top of the 8th. MLB Network's special coverage of the 2018 Fall Stars game is presented by Bowman Baseball Cards, the first place to find the game's future stars. 6,883 packing this house in Surprise. That is a Fall Stars record.
Rogers came in the Verlander deal too, didn't he, Jim?
He did. It was Cameron and Rogers and Franklin Perez.
So what was a third-round pick, wasn't he, for the Astros?
He was, and there were some scouts who thought he was the best defensive player in that draft. He's got, you know, the arm is probably, in terms of pure strength, solid. It's a 55, but he is such a quick transfer and so accurate. He's thrown out 48% of base stealers as a pro. He's got some power. He's got some walks. He's inconsistent with the bat, and the bat's going to determine, you know, whether he's a bat. He'll play in the big leagues for sure, whether he's a backup or a regular.
Dan, what have you observed at third base from Guerrero Jr.? Hold that thought. Wyman's out. We're going to have a new pitcher, but we'll go back to that play. DeMarcus Evans is going to enter for the West Division as they have a 5-3 lead here in the 8th.
Dime si hay alguien más.
who's an interesting pitcher as we check out this last play by Biggio. He only had one play.
You see the base running on Alonso part there? He took the angle of throw away from Biggio going into second base. So again, when you're evaluating the game, you're looking at the little nuances within the game for players' understanding of how to play winning baseball. That was a winning move.
First pitch taken.
Okay, let's watch this play again. Now see, it's a high chop. Look at the, Alonso goes to the back side of the bag. So he takes the throwing lane completely away from Biggio, and it only allows him to go to first base. Now, if they get a base hit here, they have a chance to tie the game up.
And if anyone can nail down a strikeout, it's DeMarcus Evans, who has put up a 16.6 strikeout per 9 ratio this past season in the minor leagues.
I think it's
he led all relievers.
Yeah,
He led all
minor league baseball.
And he's a guy, we're seeing what he does here. He's got a power curveball around 84 miles an hour. He throws in the mid-90s. Might be a little amped up. He's having trouble throwing for strikes. But talking about great scouting like we're at the beginning of this inning, he was a 25th round pick in 2015 out of a Mississippi high school. The Rangers already have 2 pitchers drafted later in that draft who've been in the big leagues. Jeffrey Springs, a 30th rounder, and C.D. Pelham, who was out here for a little bit and went home in the 33rd round. And one of their best starting pitching prospects was a 16th rounder in that same draft. So the Rangers found some nice arms late in the 2015
those area
draft.
scouts got some bonuses at the end of the year.
You hope so.
And Dan, this fastball looks like it's dancing.
It moves a lot.
It's electric. And again, there's not a ton of effort involved in his delivery.
He was a guy who was a starter and really struggled, and they kind of, again, simplify things.
And I've talked about effort a lot tonight. For me, when I see effort, I see injuries. When I see a lack of effort, if I see ease within a delivery, when the ball jumps out of your hand, that ball's crushed.
That jumps off the bat of Austin Listy. It's gone.
That was called a hanging slider right there.
A 3-run shot. Listy muscles up, and the East grabs the lead from the West here in the 8th. What a blast by Austin Listy. And a 4 RBI performance tonight.
How about the emotion these teams are both showing? They really want to win this game.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, the game doesn't count, but still, especially when you play national TV, anytime you get between the lines, you want to win. And
I think there's been some bragging rights going on, a little smack talking before the game. See, this was a cement mixer. The ball did nothing. It stayed right in the middle of the plate.
And that's a bunt from Jimenez, but it goes foul, trying to catch Guerrero Jr. napping. Listy split the season between High A Clearwater and Double A Reading. And
boy, and Listy's got a very, very short, compact swing, Jim. He generates a lot of power out of his core.
And he just launched that, too.
That was a simple swing, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess there's a reason he holds the Dallas Baptist single-season career home run records.
18 home runs in the minors this past season, a career high. Career highs in doubles and RBIs as well.
So he might wrest that MVP away from Peter Alonso. We'll have to see.
If this score holds true, how does he not 4 of the 6 runs driven
Alonso's
in?
been on base 3 times now.
Scored all 3 times. And he homered off a 103.
So my vote's for Listy if they win the game. Oh, 2 to Jimenez down the line. It's foul.
Good handsy swing right there. That was 95. Dropped the head of the bat on it.
I know there's some time because he's only 20 years old, but does he stick at shortstop, or is Ahmed Rosario better at that position?
I think he can stick at shortstop. That's a tough call. I mean, I think I'd give a slight edge to Ahmed Rosario, but Jimenez is a couple years away. If Ahmed Rosario doesn't hit, then maybe it doesn't matter. And Jimenez is certainly capable of playing short.
Can also play second base. He flies out to center field. That's McKenna to haul it in. A 3-run goner for Austin Listy. Vaults the East Division out in front of the West as we head to the bottom of the 8th here from Surprise. Winning Austin Listy with a 3-run shot and a 6-5 lead for his East Division All-Stars. It's the 13th Fall Stars game. Scott Braun, Jim Callis, Dan O'Dowd. Welcome back to Surprise, Arizona, and that's the first pitch from Darwinzon Hernandez here in the bottom of the 8th to Maybreeze Valoria, and they were just playing Sweet Caroline, so something for him to get accustomed to when he joins the Red Sox big league squad.
I can see him pitching the 8th inning for the Red Sox down the road. He's got that kind of arm. You know, it's a mid-90s fastball. He can get up near 98, 99 miles an hour. You know, it's a hard slider. He's another one of these guys who's a starter now, getting some innings and experience. But I look at this guy and I see reliever.
I think the key for all these guys is just they're going to have to throw more consistent strikes. You've got to pitch ahead in the count at the big league level. I don't care how hard you throw. You've got to be able to pitch in more up counts than down counts. He gets it easy though, Jim. And he's got some deception. He's got a deep drop in the back, which really hides the ball exceptionally well. So I think it just gets on you.
No, yeah, it seems like it explodes on you at the plate. It's not the crossfire Devin Smeltzer, but he's throwing about 10 miles an hour harder than Devin Smeltzer too.
And that'll get through. Base hit. Maybreeze Valoria, who spent a little bit of time with the Royals big league squad this year, 10 games towards the end of the season, is aboard to start off the bottom of the 8th.
It was kind of right place, right time for him because they traded Drew Butera, I think, right at the end of August, and then Sal Perez was banged up, so Valoria came up from high Class A, gets his first big league call-up out of the blue.
Timing is everything. That's it for Hernandez. Brett Hanowich coming up next. It's 6-5 East over West here in the 8th. The offseason is on MLB Network, featuring an all-star lineup led by baseball's only off-season TV morning show. It's Game On 24/7, 365. Catch it all weekdays, and don't miss our primetime lineup after award season starting November 19th on MLB Network. That's Brett Hanowich, 6'3", 200 pounds, drafted by the Angels in the 9th round of the 2017 draft out of Stanford. He's 23 years old, from Bradenton, Florida, facing Luis Robert, with Valoria on first after his base hit. Bottom portion of the 8th, Robert, then Khalil Lee. And Jim, Hanowich said he throws like a combination of Jordan Walden and Carter Capps, and he gets rid of Robert's bat there.
He didn't just get rid of it, he exploded it.
Yeah, he's another one of these guys who's got some power to his stuff. He'll sit in the mid-90s at times, pitching in relief. He's got a slider that's harder than it is sharp, I think. And he's kind of an inconsistent history of throwing strikes. If he throws strikes, we could see him pitching relief in the big league level.
But Dan, he's got that hop off the mound.
Yeah, he's got a delivery that's a little out of control, which makes it more problematic of being able to throw consistent strikes. So he's going to be more of an action guy than he's going to be a command and control guy.
He's ahead of Robert, who has a fresh bat. And he's got it.
He overmatched him right there.
He also said he's been told he looks like John Lackey. I'm sure I see it.
Really? I see it in his face.
You see it a little bit?
Yeah, not his delivery or anything, just
No.
in his face. Late getting started right there.
Oh, yeah. A young John Lackey. Now Khalil Lee.
Ball had some sink to it on the arm side. I mean, this is not easy for hitters, guys. I mean, you're running in arm after arm after arm, and they're all thrown in the mid-90s.
This is the Royals' top position player prospect. And Jim, some teams liked him better pre-draft as a left-handed thrower.
Yeah, he has a really good arm that plays great in the outfield. But I mean, coming out of high school in Virginia, he was low 90s with a good slider. You know, it wasn't one of these where he could hit. Oh yeah, it's a good arm. It was legitimate two-way interest depending on which team you talk to.
And that arm is working defensively for him. 26 outfield assists in the past couple seasons.
No, he can throw. He can do a lot of things. He just needs to, I think, refine the plate discipline a little bit. And he could be a really good player for the Royals.
Lee on the ground to second, and Shed Long gets eaten up.
Yeah, we could see that one coming. He kind of turned a little bit and stopped his feet. Started to throw the ball to second base before he cleanly fielded the ball. Not sure he's played a ton of second base.
No, he has, but I mean, he's an offensive second baseman. That's the question. Is
see his turn right there, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, he turned before he had caught the ball. But that's the question on Shed is, I mean, you like the power, you like the offensive upside. Can he play second base well enough? Because you can't really hide a guy at second base.
You cannot. Honestly, again, I've said this earlier, is that defensively at the major league level anymore, it's getting really difficult to hide below average defensive players.
Now Cole Tucker takes a strike.
So you watch here, he gets a little flat-footed on the ball. See, he stopped his feet right there. He didn't keep his feet moving, and he turned to throw to second base before he caught the ball. He's talking to himself now.
I think he's saying Dan O'Dowd and Jim Callis are killing me right now on national TV.
I like his swing a lot. So.
Well, would you put him in left field? Is that a better spot? No.
No.
Puts a lot more pressure on the bat.
It really does. Just be patient. Keep working with them.
And that's what development's about.
That is. You know, in our game, guys, you don't have to know what perfect looks like. You just have to know what better looks like. If you can just incrementally keep getting better, you'll look up and all of a sudden you'll be a lot better.
Ball and 2 strikes. Cole Tucker on 100. Can't catch up to it.
Well, he's thrown harder than my scouting report. I had mid-90s, and we've seen him climb 96, 98, 99, 100.
I think we got a hot gun tonight, Jim.
Well, that could be. That wasn't a very good swing by Cole Tucker, though.
No. But that's 100. On a pitcher he's probably never seen before.
This could work out of the bullpen for the Angels.
Yeah, it just comes down to being able to find the strike zone consistently.
He's talked about it himself that he kind of is his own worst enemy. When he doesn't command and throw enough strikes, he puts himself into a difficult position.
This is Yu Chen.
And again, we talked about this is kind of what you see in the Arizona Fall League because the starters are on pitch limits through the course of the season, so your better starters don't end up down here, other than rehabbing from an injury or for some reason fell way short of their
It's usually guys who had a non-serious injury that didn't involve the arm. Otherwise, you don't see top prospect pitchers down here very often.
This guy really does have some Carter caps in that delivery, the way he jumps off the mound.
Chang with the 2 RBI triple back in the 6th, put his team ahead 5-3, but the East responded. And that's an impressive frame from Brett Hanowich. Strikes out the side after 8. West trailing by 1 run.
Yo quisiera concederte todo lo que tú me pidas, que te compre unos aretes, que te rasque la barriga. Cuando me casé contigo, a tu madre prometí que le iba a comprar un abrigo con plumas de colibrí. De colibrí, de colibrí, de colibrí. Oye, colibrí.
17 major league seasons for Mike Cameron from 1995 through 2011. Wow, he could put on a show in center field. 3 gold gloves. And now what does he do? Hangs out here in Surprise, Arizona and watches his son Daz Cameron playing the Arizona Fall League Fall Stars game. Leading off this top of the 9th inning for the East Division as they hold a 6-5 lead, and Daz is the 8th best prospect in the Detroit Tigers organization.
What a thrill it must be for him to come here after having the incredible career that he had and now watch his son play, and his son's so close to the big league level. I'm sure it's a really proud night for him, and it should be.
Michael Jordan can't take that away from him.
So do we have Steve Cishek on the mound right now here, Jim?
It's a lookalike in Wyatt Mills. He's in the Seattle Mariners organization, and those are the comps that he's been receiving.
Yeah, he's up to, he throws harder for a guy down that angle, up to 95. He's got a tight slider. We're going to see even harder throwing side armor in the bottom of the 9th. The Rockies are going to trot one out for us.
Oh, you already know that, huh?
Well, if assuming everybody gets used, yeah, I believe we will see Justin Lawrence perhaps even get the final out.
When can we see Wyatt Mills in the major leagues? What does he have left to accomplish?
I think with a lot of these relievers, it's just consistently locating your stuff. I mean, shoot, with the way that Jerry DiPoto churns through players, he might get traded before he gets to Seattle. But no, I mean he's a 2-pitch guy. He's not just relying on overpowering you. It's a different look, obviously. I think with the side armors, a lot of times it just comes down to your ability to locate your pitches.
And just like Cishek, he shuts down right-handed hitters. We'll see if he can do that against Cameron. Nope, he loses him.
Scotty, this arm action for me too is, you know, what are they going to utilize to neutralize a left-handed hitter?
All right, we got this just for you, Dan.
There he is. Look at this. I mean, really, there is a ton of similarities. Body type too.
Cishek with the Cubs this past season.
He's had a great career.
And now he'll face Nico Horner.
Because everything runs in, you know, it stays out over the plate necessarily to a left-hand hitter. So, you know, what kind of off-speed pitch do they attack a left-hand hitter with? Difficult to throw a quality slider to a left-hand hitter from this kind of slot.
We've noticed some of the teams that were in the playoffs this past season putting an emphasis on providing different looks out of the bullpen.
I think it
so to
helps
have
a lot.
someone like this is valuable.
Especially when you need to get a ground ball in a crucial situation. You want to throw one pitch and get 2 outs.
Horner with a base hit in his last trip. In the top of the 7th, he was caught stealing.
You know, one of the things that I found difficult in developing these kind of pitchers is none of our pitching coaches ever threw like this. And so it was really difficult to be able, you know, pitching coaches, to me, the better ones are like, you know, mechanics on sports cars, where they just got to fine tune it and find that one thing that can get the player from one level to the next level of his ability. But if you've never done this and thrown this way, it becomes a little bit more challenging to be able to teach it.
Full count to Nico Horner.
Let's see if they're running here.
Cameron can really move, and he's on his way, and that's fouled back.
Horner's a good contact hitter too, and a good eye at the plate.
He profiles best at second base, you said, Jim?
I think so. I think the arm is more average, and I think an average arm, you don't see too many really average arms on the left side of the infield. I think he's going to be an offensive guy.
And he can fill there, but not necessarily play there every day.
Check over to first to keep Cameron tight.
You know, again, I mean, the way the Cubs use guys, and they have so many talented hitters, maybe his role winds up being a guy who could
play
some second, short, third, the outfield corners.
Jim, you said this earlier. Horner's the only position player drafted this past June who was in the Arizona Fall League. Is it that rare to go from the draft to the Fall League because you play a longer season?
No, I mean, in past years, I remember seeing Chris Bryant down here. I remember years ago seeing Max Scherzer down here. I just think it's kind of, you know, cyclical, and this year we just don't have that many.
Horner retired at first. Cameron had a head start, so he gets to second, and Pavin Smith coming up next.
Cameron broke and didn't stop on that. He would have got a base hit there. Second baseman was covering the bag.
On to the next pitcher. That's it for Wyatt Mills here in the top of the 9th. Pavin Smith coming up for the East as they try and add to their lead. Join the off-season conversation with Rose and Millar on Intentional Talk at 7 Eastern. Then at 7:30, Brian Kenny debates off-season moves on the show for the thinking fan, MLB Now. They're back in primetime after the awards show starting November 19th, only on MLB Network. Welcome Dalton Moats to the game. From Kansas City, Missouri, he's made 5 appearances in the Arizona Fall League, 7 2/3 innings, just 1 hit allowed, 12 strikeouts, and no walks.
You know, the one thing exciting about for the pitchers in the Rays organization.
And there goes the runner. The throw to third is there.
This kid can throw. That's his second outstanding throw in today's game. Kansas City's got something here with this young man. He's for me, he looks like a quality defensive catcher.
That's maybe Valoria behind the plate.
Look how relaxed he made this throw.
Right on the bag, too.
I was saying about the way the Rays are deploying their pitching. I mean, everybody in that organization is going to have an opportunity if they perform at the minor league level to serve some type of role at the major league level. Because it's not just, you don't have to be a traditional starter or a traditional back-end guy. There's a lot of different ways you can assist that ball club. And because of their strategy, they go through a lot of pitchers.
That misses to Pavin Smith.
And for me, it's when you get to the AA level, you're in play. You begin to have success at the AA level within your organization. You're now a guy that can be in play to help your big league club in some capacity.
A 4-pitch walk for Smith and a 2-out base runner here in the 9th for the East Division. Let's look forward to the 2022 opening day roster for the Tampa Bay Rays.
A lot of exciting young players on this list, Jim.
I'll tell you, the guy who excites me the most is Wander Franco, who's super young. He's the best international prospect since Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I'm not saying he's in that class, but his career is starting not dissimilarly. That guy can just rake. And he's another shortstop. He probably winds up moving to third because we talked about how many shortstops they have. But Wander Franco is really, really exciting.
I'm going to write that down, Jim.
I'm
going to write down Wander Franco and Vladimir Guerrero. That's his comp.
No, I didn't say he was that good. I said best since. I'm not putting Wander Franco in the Hall of Fame yet, like I did with Vlad on our Top 100 Prospect show in January.
Lofted to right. Khalil Lee has it. And that'll sit down the side. Wander Franco, we could talk about a couple years down the line in this Fall Stars game, perhaps.
He'll be here.
Last licks for the West Division down a run.
A 9th inning walk-off home run. Oh, my!
That was the final exhibition game for the Toronto Blue Jays this past season. Vlad Guerrero Jr. with a walk-off shot in Montreal. Yes, the house of the old Expos. And then he spent his time in the minor league season raking and winning a minor league batting title and just about every award that he could rack up. Actually, quite a few Montreal Expos hats.
I love that logo.
Me too.
Well, I was looking to ambush that first pitch, guys.
His team trails by a run here in the 9th, and he's facing Justin Lawrence, the sinker baller.
Watch this first pitch swing here. Yeah, he was trying to tie it up right there. Got a lot of people got their phones out.
If he hits it off of Lawrence, he's going to earn it, because you don't see guys from that
98
angle
with that slot. Wow.
Throw that hard. I mean, he's got a kind of that sidearm slider too, but it's he gets sink. That one didn't sink, but he also can sink that fastball too. It is a tough pitch to hit. He had a very good season in the Cal League.
2 balls and 2 strikes, and
he did not like that pitch at all. That's a hitter who understands the strike zone. That's not a strike.
That's up. And he puts it on the ground to short. Jimenez. Throw gets away from Alonso. Guerrero is going to get to second.
Another example, an infielder just stop moving their feet. Got to keep your feet going through the ball the whole time.
Tying runner in scoring position to start the bottom of the 9th. And Alonso shaking his head. These are future teammates, and he can't pick it.
Yeah, it's a tough pick, but again, that's an area of his game. Your first baseman has to save errors through the course of the year by making difficult picks from infielders. That's just part of the job.
It's the 4th error charged against the West Division. Or make that the East Division. Still maintaining a 1-run lead. This is shipped to left for Listy.
Yeah, you hit the ball hard, but you want to try to move the runner along there. Run around second base, no outs.
So Kevin Biggio goes down, and now Ryan McKenna up next. A hit could tie this game.
And this is a guy who's one of the leading hitters in the Fall League, hit 377 in High A. Probably about as good a pure hitter in the Orioles system.
And he takes a strike from Lawrence.
At 101 from that side, from that angle.
I think that scoreboard gun is juiced, because our gun said 97. I'll buy 97, Dan. I don't know if I'm buying 101.
You add the 2 up and divide it, so you got 99.
99.
On the ground, it's foul to the right side. So Lawrence is ranked number 17 in the Rockies system, according to MLBpipeline.com. Is there that much talent in front of him in Colorado's farm system?
Two things, and I do our Rockies list, so I'll take responsibility for that. One, that list was done in July.
Fair.
So he'll probably rise as we update it in the offseason. But 2, it's hard to rank relievers, especially relievers in high Class A. It wasn't like he was dominating when we put the list together. But it just like his velocity continues to climb. You know, this is a guy who went to college at Jacksonville as a 2-way player and didn't play or pitch much as a freshman. So said, I'll start experimenting with my arm angles. He had time on his hands. And most guys, when you do that, don't throw as hard. Throwing harder moment. And he's a starter, so if it did go extras, he could handle extra work as well.
In the air, we'll see if there's room for Alonso. It looks like there is. He's got it. 2 down. Buddy Reed coming up next. No Yamamoto. Wow. I was waiting for it.
Trying to nail down the save right here.
Pair of strikeouts for Reed tonight.
He is choking up immediately. We were wondering about that, if that was a 2-strike approach, but he's choking up significantly.
He's faced 3 completely different style of pitchers in all 3 of his at-bats. One was left-handed, one right-handed, now back to left-handed, but all 3 guys he's faced have been completely different.
Is it sustainable to choke up that much, even before 2 strikes?
Works for Joey Votto. He's a pretty good hitter.
Joey chokes up with 2 strikes, though.
He's up on that knob a lot. He's just trying to figure out a way, guys, I think, to really try to stay shorter to the ball.
Super athlete and part of a loaded farm system. The San Diego Padres are ranked #1 overall by MLB Pipeline.
Now they have to figure out how to harvest the crops, Scotty. How to bring them along. You got a pitch to hit there, he knows it.
So when is the year of contention for the Padres, Dan?
For me, they've got to start showing progress this year. They have to turn into a club capable of being close to a 500 team and then take a big step the year after that. You can't just continually learn and hang on to your rankings and your prospect system. Eventually, you have all those prospects to win at the big league level.
I think realistically you're looking at 2020, although I will say we saw it this year
just
with the
making
Braves.
Progress. Well,
a lot of times
this
those
year.
really good farm systems sneak up on you. I'm not saying it will happen.
Yeah, the one concern I have with them is when I look at their position players, Jim, I like the athleticism at second and the Tatis's at short. I'm not crazy about their athleticism on their corners of their field. I mean, there's some bats, but when you go through a rebuild, you want to look at more players that are more multi-dimensional in their ability to impact the game, not just all one way or another.
That's fair. I'll be curious to see, especially as they get closer. They're like the Braves. They have a ton of pitchers. They trade some of those pitchers to get some veteran position players to kind of fill holes and get them to the next level.
That's a big swing right there. Buddy's going to have to shorten up the swing against this guy and try to put the ball in play. Colorado's got something. That's another really. We've seen a lot of low-round kids get taken in the draft.
12th rounder.
I think this might have been John Cederberg down in Florida. This is a really, really good draft.
A great game I've seen tonight. A back-and-forth battle between the East and the West. And Buddy Reed skies it to center field. Barrera heading back towards the wall, and he doesn't have it. It smacks off the wall. Guerrero Jr. will score. We are tied in the 9th.
That ball just kept carrying. I thought it was a pop-up.
No, I thought he hit it pretty good.
And then I thought it was okay. It's going to get to the warning track, and Barrera did not look comfortable tracking that down on the warning
really
track.
Great adjustment by Buddy right there.
An RBI triple for Buddy Reed. 6-6 with 2 down in the 9th.
The MVP award might be in doubt now. You have to stop the engraving.
Kind of drifted on this ball a little bit. You know, it didn't. See how he drifted on the ball? Didn't run to the spot.
Yep.
Should he have had that?
I thought he should have made the play, Scotty, if he saw the ball and ran to the spot instead of drifting on it. I will say, for the type of player he's going to be for the A's, that's a play he's going to have to learn to make.
Look at that West dugout.
I mean, he got some emotion showing in these dugouts.
Well, Cole Tucker in the Pirates system, Josh Harrison didn't have his contract picked up, so they're going to need somebody to lead the dancing in the dugout for Pittsburgh nowadays.
Got a runner on third base now. Now the blocks for your catchers become crucial.
And Buddy Reed can move.
Yeah, he can fly.
Jake Rogers, very good defender. So
a lot of pressure on a catcher in these situations, though, especially when you've got some velocity like this on the mound.
Maybe Valoria looked good in his last at-bat, a base hit.
It did. Very short to the ball. Made 2 outstanding throws defensively. He's shown up very well in this game.
A hit would win it for the West. Makes contact. That's foul.
See him pull his arms right in there? See how he pulled his hands into that ball? That allowed him to stay short to the ball, but he drifted on that ball in left center field. He didn't run to the fence.
He's got your celebration there too, Scott.
That must be a team thing that they picked
made
up.
that up before the game.
I like it.
I knew you would.
Let them play.
I think Dan was doing that when we weren't going to get the mid-inning pitching change earlier. We were anticipating.
I was pretty fired up by that.
Start your engines. The West with the 1 run they need to keep this game alive. And now it's 3-1 to Valoria.
He's really pulling his glove side, his fastball a lot, rotating off the rubber. 3-1 count. He's going to get a fastball here.
And he clocks it. Right center field. It's over. The West Division with a walk-off win. Maybreeze Valoria. Well, what a year. Called up in September to the Royals Big League Club, went 7 for 27 in 10 games. And now he can add this to his 2018 resume. The West Division with a win, 7-6. Guerrero Jr. with the tying run coming in, and then scores on this base hit. And the bat flip with authority too for us, Dan.
That's an 80 bat flip.
That is. A couple money at bats from Maybreeze Valoria, and Buddy Reed trots home. What a back and forth affair here in Surprise.
It's a really good game. Game played with some emotion too.
And Buddy Reed wins MVP of this Fall Stars game, which is great news for us because he's a fantastic interview. Get ready. Went to the University of Florida, known for keeping the dugout alive. Buddy Reed scores the winning run in the 2018 Fall Stars game. The switch-hitting outfielder in the San Diego Padres organization with a big smile. And we'll talk to him in a moment. I mean, we saw some talent, and we're seeing so much power in the sport nowadays, Dan, both on the mound, and we measure everything coming off the bat, and it looks like more of that is coming from what we saw tonight.
Yeah, we saw explosive athleticism tonight. And you know, Scotty, what I did see again tonight too, even though this was a showcase game, which all-star games are, both these teams played with an emotion and an edge to want to win the game. And I think that's good for our sport.
Well, I know when we did the Futures game, it was the same thing. The players had a lot of fun. They played hard, but you could see the joy they took from playing the game. And you saw that tonight. I mean, yeah, it's an exhibition game in a developmental league. But you saw a lot of guys having a lot of fun. And plus, we saw the best players do what they're supposed to do.
That's right.
We saw Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit. We saw why Forrest Whitley is the best pitching prospect in the minors. We saw Peter Alonso's got tremendous power. We saw that tonight. We saw Buddy Reed's speed as he flew around the bases on the triple. We saw these guys, a lot of these guys did exactly what they were supposed to do.
Including Buddy Reed with the triple to keep the game alive, and then he ends up scoring the winning run. He's the MVP of the Fall Stars game, and he joins us right now on MLB Network. Buddy, congratulations. Very happy for you. And take us through that last at-bat.
You know, I was battling. Justin Lawrence is a great pitcher, a hell of a pitcher. He was throwing hard. His finish, like 98, 101. The pitch he threw me 3-2 was a really good pitch. It was down and away, and I just used my God-gifted ability and put a good swing on it and hit a triple.
Buddy, it's Dan O'Dowd. Looks like you really tried to make an adjustment with 2 strikes there. Shortened up your swing. You pulled your hands in really well. Was that a conscious thought in that approach?
Always. You know, with a guy like that, you're a little uncomfortable in the box, so I had to choke up a lot more than I usually do. And like I said, I just wanted to put a good swing on the ball, battle for my team over there, and get this $500.
Buddy, Jim Callis here. You're talking about being uncomfortable. They weren't really fair to you tonight. You get to see Trent Thornton, who's got a really deceptive delivery. Then you get Melvin Adon, who can go up to 102 and has a nasty slider. And then you get the Justin Lawrence, who throws about as hard as any side armor. That's 3 pretty difficult looks in one game, isn't it? Especially coming off the bench.
It was tough, you know, coming in the 6th inning or bottom of the 5th, whatever it was. Yeah, you know, I struck out twice, but hey, it's the game of baseball. You're always going to get another opportunity. I was gifted one, and then I just did what I set out to do.
Perfect timing. And what's the team celebration everyone's been doing? Revving up the engine? What is that?
Revving up the engine. I don't know what you call it, shooting the arrow, shooting the bow, whatever it is. It's a team effort, and the guys over there, they're awesome.
It was fun to watch. So are you, buddy. Thanks so much. Congratulations.
Thank you guys so much. Have a good night. God bless.
Buddy Reed with the triple, and then he scores the winning run. And next Saturday, we'll be back here at 8 Eastern. Our coverage of the Arizona Fall League continues as the Mesa Solar Sox will square off against the Salt River Raptors for the military appreciation game. 7-6, the West, their walk-off winners. And for Dan O'Dowd, Jim Callis, and our entire crew out here in Arizona, this is Scott Braun saying good night from Surprise Stadium. Thanks for watching the 2018 Arizona Fall League Fall Stars game presented by Bowman Baseball Cards. See you next week.
Mookie Betts ready to lead off for Boston. Red Sox in the road Grays. They played well in those road Grays in the division series, winning back-to-back games at Yankee Stadium to defeat the Yankees.